Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the final session of Dare to Be Great 3, the last Dare to Be Great conference. 47 out of 47. Holy hell. How did we get here? It went by really fast. I mean, we started this on Monday, and it's already the end of Thursday. How crazy. I mean, just this whole experience, all of the sessions, it's just been amazing. Thank you all for being here. And we're about to get started with Imagine Listening. I was looking at the polls. It looks like a lot of people have have participated in an Imagine Listening session before. So, but if not, if you haven't answered the poll or anything, or if you're coming on a replay, I want to. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments here. I want to just to give a warning that with Imagine Listening, the stories that we're going to share, these are I Am 911 stories. And these are stories that some of them are stories that people have been holding in for some time, and they're sharing these stories with people who know exactly what they go through. This is the whole I Am 911 movement. It started out as a way to raise awareness for the reclassification issue, but quickly turned into peer support, and that's what Imagine Listening has done as well. The first half of this, we are going to share I Am 911 stories. Now, they don't have to be, like the most horrific thing at all. They can also be saves. They can also be stories about saves. You can either put the entire story out, or you can do it in I Am 911 format, and that is where you say, I was the one who took this call when such and such happened. And the reason I structured it that way was because it's like a form of communication, right? These stories, specifically the one that I started it out with, I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. Then hashtag I Am 911. I'm not going to meet the people who I helped out on that call when their son flipped their four-wheeler. I'm probably never going to meet them. But if they were ever to see and read that story, would want them to know that I was there with them throughout that entire call. It's like I'm reaching out to them beyond that initial call and saying, I was there with you. And it sticks with me too. So that's what Imagine Listening is. We're sharing these I Am 911 stories. So I'm going to read an intro because these Imagine Listening and Open Mic are two separate episodes that are going to go on the podcast. Now, no names or anything are going to be shared on all of that. This is all audio. And let me tell you, the amount of stories that have gone out there and the feedback from the episodes and the sessions, whether it be in person or even virtual, have just been amazing. People learning what it is that you do on a daily basis, and it just continues. The movement continues. These stories continue. That's what this has all been about. And people are sharing stories from all over the world. And people are attending this conference from all over the world. And I keep using the word, but it's amazing. it's just unbelievable sometimes. And I just thank you all for the support. So I wanted to give that warning as well, that if some of this is a little too hard, mute it, or you can go and you can come back, because the second half, Open Mic, is where we're going to share the funny, the lighter side of Dispatch. We're going to start out emotionally intense, and then we're going to end on a high note by sharing all the funny stuff. And believe me, once we're done with this first part, you're going to want to laugh. And we do end up laughing, and it's a lot of fun. It's not the people or the callers or anything. No one is making fun of them at all. No, that's not what it is. It's it's the situations, right? The situations that happen in life that you end up taking these calls and you think, huh? Like, is this real life? So this first part is what this is going to be. And for Imagine Listening. And then we're going to move into Open Mic. So thank you all for being here, for hanging tight, and just being a part of this entire journey. Thank Thank you so very much. So again, I'm going to start this out with the intro and then your stories. Go ahead and put them in the comments and I will read them for you. And we'll go from there. Again, the first half, imagine listening. The second half will be the funny stuff, the lighter stuff. So here we go. Imagine waking up after a good night's rest. The sun is shining and getting ready, and you're getting ready for the day. Things seem to be a bit quiet, though, so you check on the rooms. You go around through the house and check these rooms. Now imagine you're 911, taking a call from a mom who found her infant not breathing. You start CPR and have the ambulance heading out. Just as they arrive, you hear the child cry, and all is well. This is what it's like within the trenches. In this episode, you will hear stories from the I Am 911 movement, a movement I started to fight the reclassification of dispatchers from clerical to protective and bring awareness to the types of calls that 911 dispatchers answer on a daily basis. This is an Imagine Listening session, and we are here at the 2021 Dare to Be Great virtual conference. Now, you heard the warning at the beginning, but I must warn you again and add that if you suffer from PTSD or have suicidal tendencies, you are listening at your own risk. The stories you're about to hear are all true and come from the dispatchers who lived them. While some stories have a good outcome, the majority are horrifying. This is our reality. Your worst day is our everyday. So let's start with a bang. I want you to imagine each story, become the dispatcher who has taken each call, and imagine listening. So I'm going to look over into the comments for your stories. And once you throw those stories in there, I'll go ahead and read them. You know, when I started doing Imagine Listening, it was around 2017. A good friend of mine was my co-host during that time, and it was Rob McMullen, and he had a session earlier today, an amazing session. And we weren't sure how this was going to work. We weren't sure how it was going to go down, and I remember him saying, you think people will share? I said, I think they will. I think people have been holding in stories long enough, and with the movement already going strong for almost a year at that time, people were sharing and sharing and sharing. And they did. It took a little bit because in person, you get to say it out loud with the microphone. And nobody wanted to share a story. No one wanted to be that first one. So I ended up getting on the microphone and I said, if you want to share a story by writing it down, do that. And we'll read it for you. And once that was out there, the amount of paper that you heard ripping and people sharing and passing, there were so many stories that were shared, and that's what it took. And then finally one person shared out loud, and then more and more and more. It's hard to explain the feeling being in there with everyone sharing their stories, but it was a good one. The first story here says, I talked to you when you found your daughter and son in your swimming pool, not breathing. You and your wife pulled them out and started CPR. I was still on the phone when the man arrived to install your pool fence. He was an hour late due to traffic and 20 minutes too late for your daughter. It was later determined she jumped in after her brother. Neither could swim, but she died to save his life. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. I answered your call when you found your boyfriend dead from his last overdose before rehab. Thank you. I am there when you find your baby girl not breathing and talk you through the baby CPR that you said you knew but forgot. I am sorry that your best efforts and my best efforts did not work. Thank you for sharing that. You know, sometimes when we're sharing stories, right, it doesn't, sometimes it makes you wonder, like, is this going to help? Or not just that, why is it taking so long for us to share? And I'll tell you right off the bat, it definitely helps. There's so many people that have written in and said that they didn't realize how long they'd been holding something in, or how it had been affecting them, you know, until they saw something or until they heard someone else share a story. And I remember I had someone come up to me once after an Imagine Listening session, and they told me that basically they wanted me to tell them if they were weird, I guess, because they didn't have a story to share, or they didn't feel a certain way, almost as if they really didn't feel anything. And we spoke for about an hour, and she shared so many stories. And at the end, I remember her saying, yeah, I guess I just wanted to see, you know, what you thought, like if there was something wrong with me. And I just smiled, and she's like, what? And I said, you just shared several stories that I would have never thought that you would have shared with me in that time. And she chuckled, and she goes, thank you. She's like, I feel better. I guess I didn't realize it at the time. And it was a powerful moment to be able to, you know, have that conversation, and for someone to think, you know, conversation does help, especially when you're talking to people who know where you come from, right? It's just like all of us here right now, even virtually, you're reading these stories and you're connecting. This next story here says, I've been watching this series for so long, and it's still hard. I've always wanted to share, and I keep thinking one of these days I will feel comfortable enough to share. Still not today, but one day. Thank you to everyone who does share. It's therapeutic for people like myself who are still afraid to share, but see how strong you guys are for sharing. Thank you for saying that. And we will be here for you when you're ready to share. Thank you so much for sharing that. This next one here, it says, I am so sorry that I made you do CPR on your cold, dead husband of 50 plus years. Hashtag because policy. You don't know that I cried with you. Thank you for sharing. Hearing the words, Officer Down, was the beginning of the nightmare of your murder. Helping plan your funeral and honoring you in the only way I knew how, by writing your last call, allowed me to show you how much we loved you and how much we would miss you. I am 911. Thank you for sharing that. The next one here says, I could see your brother and you trying to take your dad off the bed while he was in cardiac arrest. I tried to give you instructions to pull him off the bed and provide him CPR. My heart melted when you said to me, please don't let my dad die. I wish I could have said with confidence that I wouldn't let him die, but we can't. I'm sorry we could not save him. I am 911. Thank you. You were only 21. It was your final night of training. You were 15 minutes from going off duty. I will never forget the open mic. Breathe, Dan. Breathe. Then the sergeant calling for the lieutenant to come back to the city in a voice I didn't recognize. It's bad, sir. Really bad. Just get here as fast as you can. We will never forget you. 311. It was an honor to give your final call. Thank you for sharing that. I took your call when your apartment caught fire. You were handicapped and couldn't get out. I was there on the phone with you when you took your last breath before your phone disconnected. You were one of several fatalities in this fire. Thank you for sharing. I am also there when you tell me you heard the gunshot from the basement and knew your 17-year-old son had taken his own life because his girlfriend had broken up with him via text. The smell was too much for you, so you waited outside for EMS, and I stayed with you until they arrived. Thank you for sharing. All right, I'm catching up to the comments here. As some of them come in, I have to scroll up. So if I take a minute, it's because I'm trying to get back to the next one. When I picked up the line, I heard you say, "I think it just exploded." I asked him what exploded. He said the gas station. It's all gone. Everything is burning. I just spoke to the clerk not 30 minutes before, asking about the weather. She told me a hockey team had stopped there to wait out the storm. Loads of 8, 9, and 10-year-olds running in her store. She laughed and said it was nothing new and hung up. When the man said it had exploded, I could only think about her and those kids. Luckily, the dispatch gods were on her side that day. Every trooper was home and answered the phone. Every department was already at the station for some reason, and every single person who could help us just came in a blizzard. Our dispatch team worked in perfect harmony, and no one died. In a situation that everyone could have been killed or injured, nobody was. It was literally one of the best things in my life. I was so damn proud to be a dispatcher. I am 911. Thank you for sharing that. I've been in this profession for, well, probably too long. But I can't leave what I love. I had calls buried deep for a long time, calls that were breaking me mentally and physically. I was displaying myself as a 8, 9, but I was a 1 or 2 at best inside. I learned to hide this very well. I learned about a podcast from a coworker. I had no idea what a podcast even was. It turns out this podcast saved me mentally and physically. I learned it was okay not to be okay. This podcast taught me how to recover, how to release those calls and the call that broke me. I know the rule to say no names. But I need to say this one. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you for giving me the courage to say I'm not okay. The courage to finally ask for help. I am 911. Thank you, brother. It means a lot, man. I was there when your friend called 911 that they found you. They found you in, was it the country? The country? Or the county? In your wrecked car from the night before. Your family had been looking for you for hours. You were gone. We went to school together and hung out often with our friends. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. I answered the 911 to hear my voice screamed. After the Kent's jar, I was there with you when you found your dad. My ex had ended his battle with PTSI via gunshot wound. I stayed with you till your mom got there. Mental jar corrections. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. I was there when you got home from church on Father's Day to find your son hanging on the tree in your backyard. I was there while you were crying, trying to get him down. I wish I could have been there to just hug you when you lost your only son. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. I was CTO listening in when you called that your baby had strangled in the cords of the bedroom blinds. I kept you on the line while my trainee tried not to hyperventilate. Later, we learned he was one of twins, and our hearts broke for you again. Thank you for sharing. I was one of the dispatchers on the line when your young son called 911. Your husband was stabbing you in another room, and I could hear your screams. When your screams ended, your son confronted his father instead of staying in hiding. I was terrified for him. Thank God that your son made it through. Unfortunately, you did not. My heart aches for your child and the memories of that day that he will live with. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. My trainee and I were there with you when you figured out that the hospital was too far away and your baby was coming now. Your wife was being so brave, but we could tell in your voice you were really scared for both her and your unborn child. But you never faltered. We gave instructions to bring your child into the world, cried with you when we heard her first cries. Nothing has sounded so sweet as the cries of your baby girl. When asked your location, you said the Bojangles parking lot, meeting our Bowberry baby and family was such a blessing. I am 911. Thank you for sharing that. I was there when your new girlfriend had a surprise baby at the motel you were partying at. You were so happy and kept asking how you could help. Thank you. All right, it looks like I'm catching up to some of these here. Yeah, okay. I'm catching up to some of the stories here. So we've got about 5 more minutes left of Imagine Listening here, and I just want to thank you all so very much for sharing these stories and being patient with me as as I'm reading through these. Gary, thank you. It's amazing. I dispatched my officers to the scene. They arrived and shut down the road. You came back and blew through the roadblock, leaving her there with strangers. The sergeant gave me your tag. I ran it, then realized that I knew you. You continuously present yourself to you and her friends and family as the sad yet innocent boyfriend of the girl that died in that motorcycle wreck, while I still know what you did and didn't do for her. You still have no idea that I know. Thank you for sharing. I answered your call on the 4th of July. Your first words were, "My husband is dead." I asked if you wanted to try CPR. You screamed at me that his face was gone. Your husband of 50 years was setting off homemade fireworks. I heard your heart break when you realized he was gone. 18 years experience. And I cried with you. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. The night you called to report a fire in your home, I sent you help. The screaming in the background came from your 5-year-old son, who had plastic bags melting to his skin. The bag proceeded to cause more of his skin to burn. All you did was yell at him. Look what you've done now. I can still hear your child's screams of pain. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. I answered the phone when you came home and found your 13-year-old daughter had hung herself. I will never forget the screams of you and your wife. I also answered the phone the night your wife died. I see you every now and again and relive it all over again. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. You were home alone while your wife was gone to celebrate the birth of your grandbaby when you called because you weren't feeling well. You suddenly quit talking, but I could still hear you struggling to breathe and talk. Units arrived moments later and found you slumped against the counter, still clutching the phone. You were airlifted to a trauma center where they determined you had suffered a major stroke and you were gone. I still hear you struggling to ask them to hurry. I am 911. Thank you for sharing. We've got about a minute left for this first part of Imagine Listening. And again, I want to thank you all for being here for each other, supporting each other, and sharing these stories. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. And Stephanie, I did see that in the ask a question part. Thank you. I do practice, between the yoga and the stuff you see in the back there. It might be me nerding out a little bit, but the process of the design and creating a screen and printing It's pretty therapeutic. I'm still learning a lot from it, but, you know, sometimes I will wire in and just listen to music or do screen printing or go for a walk or just have tea time with my daughters. Or we'll have a dance party. That's what I do. And it's been good. And I hope all of you, you know, practice self-care as well. It's very important. But again, thank you for sharing these stories. This is going to be available forever for people to come back to listen to and to take from, and always know that they're not alone, that there are others out there who are dealing with similar things and that you can overcome. I mean, that's what this whole conference has been about, right? To dare to be great every moment. It has been amazing. So, as we finish this part, let's imagine listening. How many of you are ready to laugh? Because we are now going to go into the open mic portion, where the stories now are going to move to the lighter side of Dispatch, and we're going to share these funny stories. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I might not get a chance to read all of them because these are the stories that come in way faster than, of course, the Imagine Listening I Am 911 stories. So let's get started. And I want to make sure really quick that I have the right audio. Okay. All right. Good. All right, everyone. Here we go. We are about to get started. This is going to be for open mic. Again, thank you for sharing all of these I Am 911 stories. It's been amazing. Here we go with the intro.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Lori, I love that.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch.
Hopefully you can hear the intro.
We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of Dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. I love that intro. All right, thank you, and welcome everyone to Open Mic Live. So we are here. We just finished off Imagine Listening, a very powerful, as always, session of Imagine Listening. So many stories shared, and I can't thank you enough for sharing those stories, and again for being here for each other and supporting. And now we're going to move over to the lighter side of Dispatch. We're going to share some of the funny shit that happens in 911. And, you know, after sharing all of the emotionally intense stories there, let's laugh. Let's do some laughing. And what's good is that we're going to have a bonus of Open Mic Live, because after every single day of Dare to Be Great, there's an After the Greatness, right? Where we recap the day's events. But today, since it falls on Thursday, on Open Mic Live Day, we are going to combine After the Greatness with Open Mic Live at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. So we've got this one now, and then we're going to have the bonus show that is combined with After the Greatness. And there's going to be like four giveaways that we're going to be doing as well. So it's going to be an excellent time. Make sure to bring your stories there as well. But let's get started here as we're going to share some funny stuff. This first one here that I see, it says she called from Idaho, right? She called from Idaho wanting us to find the person that kept calling her 800 number from a phone local to our county. It was a business line, she said, and she didn't want him calling and tying up the line anymore. What kind of business? She said she was a telephone psychic. And in parentheses here it says, okay, so shouldn't she know who was calling? Right? Yeah. Thank you. I like that. You're right. Yeah. That person should have known, right? Call me now. Oh man, I remember that stuff. That was so good. So any of any funny 911 story, please add them into the comments. I can hear you typing already, and hit enter, and I will read those stories for you. And sometimes some of these stories, it only takes one for the stories to go downhill, right? Okay, we got another one here that says he got out of jail that morning and headed straight to the bar. A couple of hours later, he called me and asked where his pickup was. And am I married? Wait, what? Oh, hold on. There's several that came in. I got to scroll back. Oh, and am I married? Am I? What? Oh, damn. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Am I horny? If anybody cuts a clip from that, that's gonna suck. It's part of a story. I'm just gonna say that. I put him on hold. The chief of police and sheriff ran down to arrest him, and he told the judge that, yep, I did it. Cost $300 and 10 days in jail. They called me the most expensive dispatcher they had known. Oh, man. Let's see. Dispatch to random call sign. Be en route to the tiniest... Wait, what? Yeah, the tiniest gas station parking lot in the county in reference to a vehicle fire. Fire department is en route. That's how it went out? Oh, that is funny. That is funny. I had an officer that was giving me a hard time, and I promised him that next to shit calls, call one, a child accidentally put his goldfish in the toilet bowl and needed help to get it out, and number two, a noise disturbance for a barking iguana. Wait, did I read that right? A barking iguana? He was sure I was, oh damn, hold on a minute, I gotta go back up here. He was sure I was messing with him, but the calls were real, glorious, and all his. Damn. Wait, okay. Were you able to hear? Like, could you hear it in the background? I need to know this. Barking iguana, right? I read that right. Did your caller explain? Like, did they did they say what it sounded like? That is pretty funny. Okay, hold on a minute here. Let's see. Officer to dispatch. Do you have vehicle description, Sergeant? The car that's on fire is the only one you're looking for. Okay, that is cool right there, because sometimes nobody says anything, but to have the sergeant come back on there and say that, that's pretty funny. I like that. Thank you, Sarge. Thank you. Let's see. Yes, it was our county commissioner that called 911 to tell us that the satellite TV guys were coming Tuesday instead of Monday. Said he called 911 because he forgot our courthouse extension number. That's funny. What are you going to do, right? You're just going to take the call. Let's see. Stephanie says, so anyone who snagged Ricardo's phone number the other day can leave a voicemail of myself saying it. That's funny. Fire units dispatched to a Corvette on fire. Firecom ME6. Do you have a vehicle description? Black with flames. Click. And a Corvette. Oh man, that sucks. Oh, here's the continuation. It was an iguana, and it was audible over the phone. Okay, if you were able to hear it, can you describe it? Like, do you remember? Like, what? Because I can't. An iguana barking. I mean, that's pretty hilarious. Female on 911 call. My husband is stuck in a flower pot, and wait. Maybe I shouldn't have gone there right away. Hold on, let me read the whole thing. Female on a 911 call. My husband is stuck in a flower pot, and the flower pot is next to the pool. I need someone to come and get him out. I'm afraid he is going to fall in the pool. I'm going to leave it there. Because it sounds funny as it is. I'm just going to leave it there. Let's see. What did the dispatcher tell you? Well, that's the answer. Best watch commander ever to entitled citizen. Let's see. I asked an applicant, when was the last time he smoked marijuana? He said 5 minutes ago in the parking lot. I was nervous about this interview. I mean, so at least that person was, honest, right? They were honest. That is hilarious. You know, they smelled like Funyuns, right? And smelled like Funyuns and like pixie sticks. Like, sir, you smell like junk food. Have you been smoking weed? Come on now. Let's see. This one says, same guy gets out of jail from his 10 days, $300 fine. A while later, he comes to the jail, says he is there to spend his 24 hours in jail, but gave the wrong name. Huh? Turns out a guy at the bar paid him $50 to spend the time in jail for him. What? Dude, you know you're hard up for money if a guy's like, all right, check this out. I got $50, okay? $50. How would you like to spend time in jail for it? It'll be fine. You go in, you get 3 meals, get a roof over your head. It's $50, bro. I don't know. I can't imagine. Let's see, the flower pot. How big was the flower pot? Well, you know what they say. Bloom where you're planted. Nice, dude. That means 2 things. Let's see. I need an ambulance because my finger is stuck in a baby wipe container. Dispatch said call as a finger entrapment. Fire crews read the notes in the call and asked dispatch, are we being punked? Oh, that is funny right there. But you know what? That shit is no joke. Because I remember having that happen and, changing with one of my kids. I'm like, how the hell does that happen? Like, really? What is the possibility of that happening? Oh, that is funny. But I didn't call 911 to have fire come out. That's a finger entrapment. That is good. Let's see. I dispatched a call for a chain wrapped around a dog's paws. After dispatching the call, all the lines lit up. Police officers on the phone. Really? The dog has a chain wrapped around his balls? See, this is what happens when I don't read shit. It was the same way being on radios and I wouldn't read the BOL, and something like that would probably happen. I would say all of it as it's in there and probably unkey, like chuckle and unkey and just, I can't believe I just said that over the radio. I didn't even realize that's what I said, and they were so sweet, they brought me the chain back. Oh, dude. That is pretty oh man. My eyes are watering so bad right now. That was good. Let's see. When asking a PT, do you have any pain? He replies, only when I look in the mirror. Oh. He was also wearing a shirt with a bunch of cats on it. Aw. Poor person, man. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Aggravated DUI arrest. Asked to use the toilet, but came back with the blue mouth. He had heard from the big boys at the pool hall that he could trick the breathalyzer by chewing on the toilet mint. Oh, no. When he was booked into jail to spend his time later, and he got a blue coverall and toothbrush just so he would feel coordinated. The toilet mint. Hashtag toilet mint. That needs to go into the into the cloud, the word cloud. I can't even think. All right, let me see here. Male calls for an ambulance complaining of constipation. Oh no. The responding medic says, we're en route for relief. Dispatch responds, be careful. The freeway is a little backed up. The medics bust out laughing on the radio, stating, that was a good one. So happy for the sense of humor in our first responders. Oh, well done. That was a good one right there. Let's see. Not my call. Let's see. We've got two subjects here who skipped school and decided to get kinky. They called crying because she was chickened out, and oh my Lord, for real? No. Oh. What was your response? How about that? What was your response? Job security, yes, but oh no, you said it was on your call. Damn. I read that right in the beginning, not my call. So, when calls like this come in, this is where your skills, right? Where you become a ninja with how you respond, your wording and everything, because sometimes calls come in, right, and they seem ridiculous, but that's their emergency, right? That's their emergency. And if they're calling for the first time and you have like a twinge in your voice or something, or your tone, man, those people aren't going to call back. And sometimes there are some calls that are so out there, kind of like this one, that you're just, all right, like, we're here for you though, and we're going to get somebody out there. Do you know how they, like, I know it wasn't your call, but do you know how your partner ended up like kind of responding with it? Let's see. Skills transferred to the nurse at the hospital. Yeah, skills. That's exactly what everyone has, right? Over the phone, you've got these skills. You become a word ninja, and you're able to navigate those. Because sometimes there's nothing else you can do, right? You're trying to think of other conversation pieces, and you're just, I don't know where to go with this. You'll be all right. We'll get someone to you. We will help you out somehow, some way. We will help you out because that's our job. Oh man. Let's see. My first couple days in dispatch, my trainer had me on the radio. I had a tag or DL to give back, last name. No. See, those are the ones as well. When there's a name that and especially when you're new, officers, they've got one that they've saved or whatever, and they'll send it in just to see if you'll read it, right? If you'll read it the same way or the way it sounds. My trainer is whispering, "Say it, whack off. Say it." Their trainer was? When I paused, trying to figure out how to say it, so I did. I said, whack off, on the radio, and everyone died laughing at me. No. It's just like when I was in training and I was on radios, and one of my partners who was on phones was trying to get me to say shitting. They wanted me to say shitting because there was a guy who was intoxicated. This was a be on the lookout. The person was intoxicated, and they must have had a big lunch or big dinner because they were going house to house and dropping heat in the driveway of each house on the block that they were that this person was at. So someone had called it in, and I was going to put it out of the radio, and I remember my coworkers saying, say it the way it is in there. And I was like, hell no, I love my job. I'm not going to do that. So of course I said defecating. And of course one of the officers says, what is defecating? What does that mean? And I said, pooping. I just straight up said, I was like, the person is pooping on every driveway. And they were just laughing. They were sending me messages. They're like, ha ha, we thought you were going to say it the other way. I held my own though. I was able to do it. Let me see. Oh, this is going further on this other one. They asked the person about the pain, needed an ambulance. Oh, there's a bunch of stories coming in now. It's all the... Okay, hold on. I'll let you guys read that. Oh, man. That is hilarious. Okay, we've got only about 8 minutes or so left of this, so I'm going to try to read as many of these as I can. Too many of them came in at the same time, and now there's a bunch that are up on the top there. Let's see. We had a frequent... I can't even talk. We had a frequent Lifeline alarm caller who thought Lifeline was like the call button in a nursing home. We sent a full response several times when there was no emergency. One of our units got wise to the situation. We started a dispatch pre-alert tone or address Lifeline activation. Before we can drop tones for the fire department, we hear Medic 3 to Central, cancel that. I'm en route to switch Mrs. Jones to The Price is Right. She wanted her TV channel changed. Really? But that's service. That's service. Well done. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Let's see. Next county over had a traffic stop on a... Dude, okay. If you're... Those parents suck, dude. If their last name is Pecker and they name the dude Seymour. Oh. They were pissed off. They were like, man, we hadn't planned. We're going to give this kid this name. And that's so messed up, man. That is messed up. Let me see here. An officer friend of mine used to pull people over at a specific internet. God, I can't even say this one. Pull people over at a specific intersection. Swallow and Cox. What is with the roads, man? Like, what is with the roads around here? Or around there, rather. Was so happy I didn't dispatch there. Oh, that is hilarious, though, man. That is hilarious. Can you imagine, though, being the one who is dispatching that? Like, you would feel like feel dirty every time. Like, swallow and you know the intersection that you know what intersection you're out on. Let's see. A 35-year-old female calls in stating she has fallen and can't get up. So she needs the big, strong, and handsome firefighters to come help her back up. When they got there, she was naked. Jeez. Can't make this shit up. Oh, man. Let me see. A bunch of them came in here. Hold on. Let me scroll through. What? We have a knob lick drive. Okay. I mean, I'm guessing every agency has an area that they cover that has some crazy ass road like this. Let me go back up here. One of my favorite funny dispatches was the time the fire dispatcher gave out the call on a dumpster on fire behind a business and literally said over the radio, "Fire units, please respond to the flaming dump." Everybody in earshot of that dispatcher cracked up, and yes, you better believe fire asked them to repeat their traffic. Oh, man. Yes. Let's see. So here's another Siberian tit trail. We have the community hump tulips. Oh man, this is too good. Like, my stomach hurts from laughing. My eyes are burning because they're watering so bad. My contact on this side keeps going like whoop, whoop. Oh, let's see. Female called and asked if we could track vehicle keys like fingerprints. When asked why, she stated that she found a set of keys at a place she was renting, and the tag on the keychain said it was for a camper. When asked how long ago she found the keys, she stated 3 years ago. Officer called to ask if this was a real call. He had to go get this set of keys to put in the lost and found. You know what happens? You know, you're just doing like some spring cleaning and stuff, and then I was wondering what happened to these keys. I'm gonna call, but you know what? At least the person called, right? Might have been 3 years later, but they called, and who knows? Maybe I just spit. Maybe someone found. Maybe Maybe they found the owners to the keys. Did they? Let's see. We have one here that says, "We have a street Wong Way." I can't imagine giving that out over the radio and then the officers getting completely mixed up about it, right? Let's see. We have a bar in the county called the Shave. My coworker took a med call there, bleeding from the head at the rear entrance of this dude. Can you imagine also being the one not only giving that out, but hearing that over the radio? What if you happen to be out on a call and that goes over the radio and you're standing there with, reporting parties, and you're just like, trying to hurry up to turn the radio down? That would be embarrassing. She actually took them home, put them on her microwave, and found them while cleaning. I want to know how dirty the microwave is after not having been cleaned for 3 years. It's like a cast iron pan, dude. You got to season it. The food out of there, that shit tastes good. Otherwise, everything that's been in there for those 3 years, when they use the microwave, it comes to life. You got some dried food coming to life that's been there for those 3 years, and it comes out like, "Hey, how's it going? I found these keys." Shit. Whew. All right. So we are at the end here, and I want to thank all of you so very much. As I was crying before for other reasons, but now crying because of laughing so much. We are at the end of Imagine Listening and Open Mic, as well as the last Dare to Be Great conference. And I can't thank you all enough again for being here and sharing these stories, whether it be Imagine Listening, I Am 911 stories, or for Open Mic, the funny ones. Because it all means the same, you know, because we're here together supporting each other in sharing these stories. And laughing is good medicine. And sharing the I Am 911 stories, they're good medicine as well. It just helps so much. And to be here with all of you, you know, the feeling is the same, whether it's virtual or in person, because we're all here. People from all over the world, literally, attending this conference. It was last April when the first DTBG happened. And a few months before that, I had met with Joe McCarville. We were at the conference in Tennessee, and we were talking, and I remember saying to him, you know, what if we did a conference, you know, all of us, to do something to give back to dispatch, because they're so important. They're the most vital piece of public safety, and figure out some way to do it where they don't have to pay and they can all be there. You know, one of the biggest things that I always hear at the in-person conferences is, you know, they put a lot of us speakers up against each other, and you know, everyone has got to make some sort of choice on who they want to go see. And I thought, if there's a way that we can do this where all of us will be there, we should do it. We should try to figure something out. And it just stayed as an idea. It was just there. And then the world stopped. Everything closed. Training was postponed or canceled. And it felt right. It felt like this was the moment. This was the ultimate Dare to Be Great moment. And I remember talking to everyone and before that first one and just saying, let's dare to be great together. Let's put this out there and see what we can do, as, you know, for dispatch by dispatch. And because you all deserve to have this continuing education, because you do a hard job and it is stressful, and we didn't want the training or anything to stop. But again, more and more of the trainings were starting to get canceled or postponed. And then things started coming together, and working long days and nights. You know, during this time, and I'm still working for In Digital, so I'm also working full time there. And I was putting the graphics together and stuff, and I thought, this is going to be awesome, man. This is going to be really, really cool. And we'd put it out there, and it just exploded. It was like everyone who saw it, like you wanted the training and that continuing education, and it just grew organically, and it was such a great experience. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, you know. This was a platform that I had never used before, and I ended up, between myself and Leah as well, we ended up coming on to some of the trainings that Crowdcast had that they were putting out there, because a lot of places were starting to do virtual events. And I said, I would love for you to help me with this, to be in the background, to hear everything that is excuse me, going on, to make sure the audio is going well. And we were on some of those webinars that they were having to learn the platform and stuff. And then even on the weekend, bringing all the speakers in and training them how to do stuff. And there's videos that I've played before and bloopers where we're doing all of this stuff. And then, you know, the first one happened. It was amazing. We did the second one. Amazing. And now this third one to complete the trilogy of greatness. And again, I cannot thank you all enough for the support and just wanting to learn more from each other. And, you know, a thank you to the sponsors as well, as wanting to be part of this. And I never imagined, but it's been an amazing experience. So thank you all so very much. And Yeah, everybody keeps talking about the possibility of a Dare to Be Great 4. I don't know if something like that would happen. This completes the trilogy. If it were to happen or something, maybe in a couple of years, I don't know. I'm not sure where we go from here. I know we move forward, and we move forward together, and we're going to keep kicking ass and taking names, and you are going to continue to do the amazing job that you do every single day. I am so proud to say that I am part of this Thin Gold Line family, part of the I Am 911 movement with all of you. And thank you for the support and just allowing me to be a part of that in any way possible. Thank you. The giveaways the past couple days, I did not do it because I was gonna save it for tonight. So it's Thursday. So tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do a combined After the Greatness and Open Mic Live. So make sure to tune in. There are about 4 giveaways that we're going to be doing during that time. We're going to recap the events from today. We're going to play a lot of bloopers. You're going to have a good time. So also bring your funny 911 stories, because we're going to be going over a lot of stuff. And it's been amazing. Thank you very much. Have an excellent evening, and we'll see you at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for Open Mic Live. Thank you all for making this such a complete success, because it wouldn't be anything without all of you. So thank you. Have a good one.